Morning. Good morning.
How is everybody doing today?
Yes.
We got our guests here. They brought some bagels. There's also some fruit out there. So let's jump into this. I'm going to just pass a couple things. I'll come back. Is Charity here? Did I see Charity? I don't think I see her. Is she here yet? Okay. I'm going to just go right to the numbers. Who's paying attention to the numbers besides Jeff? So two of us. Okay, good. Well, there's no sense in carrying on anymore. 624 homes we sold in the last 7 days. That's 130 homes more than we did the last 7 days. 1,700 homes on the market and 100,000, 400,000. That's down about 30 homes from last week. Are you seeing a pattern? Year-to-date solds, 23,000. That's down 21.3. Last year was 21.7. January, it was 56.2. So you getting the idea?
Yes.
KJ, we're getting it, right? We're selling more homes. It's picking up. Interest rate is not stopping some people. Some people are stopping them cold in their tracks. Okay? But people bought homes and sold homes when it was 18% interest. Randy, you remember them days? And they still bought them and still sold them, right? Think about this as well. VA loan assumables. I've seen like 2 on the MLS in the last week that they're mentioning assumable VA loans. You guys, they're out there. I mean, think about that one. That's a heck of a deal right there. Let's see here. Almost 200 homes withdrawn in the last 7 days. We all know why a home gets withdrawn, right? It's always underpriced. Hello? Is it Tuesday or Monday? What are we doing here? Yeah, it's always overpriced, you guys. Do they lower the price when they list it with a different agent?
Yes.
99.9% of the time they do that. So please make sure you're paying attention to that kind of stuff. Vacancy rates jumped up a little bit. Why is that important when you're working with a seller? The vacancy rate. And I know we talk about this, but why is it important?
You can go anytime you want.
Perfect. Because we have sellers today that don't want to do that. They want to show it on a Tuesday as long as there's 2 Saturdays or a Thursday in between, and you've got 15 minutes. And then they wonder why it can't get sold. So please make sure you're paying attention to that stuff. All right. So let's go back to this. Is Charity out there?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's jump in. Tim, Anthony, come on up. I see them both. We're pleasure of both of them today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Please. Oh, you got to do your thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out with my one arm.
Perfect. And while he's getting that up right now, Rock Title is actually doing a charity event. So it's actually a collection drive for a local dog shelter. It's like an all-in rescue place. So you can do, I believe it's the adoption process. They rehabilitate the animals as well. So we do have a collection box in the front of our office. In addition, we are looking for volunteers that would be willing to help at the shelter as well. We do have those dates highlighted, and we'll post those the flyer that we do have available for you guys on the closed Facebook page.
And it's also up front as well as desktop calendars. Who uses a desktop calendar?
There's Brian Dillon's out there.
One person. Awesome. There's 692 out there. Anyway, welcome. It's been a while since we've done the Tim and Tony show, but here we are in the flesh.
Looks like our daily life right there.
Exactly, ours as well. But I kind of wanted to bring this presentation back up again because a lot of times on a Thursday at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll get a call, I'll get a call. Can I get open house material, open house packet, flyers, the whole shebang, data? And that's really difficult to do when there's 5 or 6 or 7 people reaching out on a Friday or a Thursday. We love that you're reaching out to us. But the whole concept of this is, what's the purpose of your open house?
We're looking for listings.
Okay, build your database, looking for listings, sell the house maybe, right? Making connections, building your database. And so identify your goals early on, prior to Thursday or Friday if you can. And utilize social media. The whole idea is just to get exposure for yourself and your brand so that you can build your brand and build your exposure and get more listings.
Sweet. So, you want to make these innovative and creative, right? So you want to make it exciting, you know, don't make it just another house tour, you know. A good thing that we always suggest is maybe reach out to a local vendor that is very close to that open house and see if they're willing to sponsor it. From there, you know, you're able to get their word out for their business in turn while you're promoting your brand, your business as well. So that's a huge little tip that you guys can implement. Consistency obviously is key. So you guys do want to be consistent as possible for at least 6 months. This is really going to help you guys establish yourself as the local expert in the area that you are farming. Really helping you build that brand and make it recognizable. And I think I already touched on this last bullet point on making you recognizable within your area that you are farming. The more consistent you are, the more people are going to resonate with you for their real estate needs.
Open houses on the uptick? Do we?
Yeah.
We've certainly got a lot of calls the last few days. 7-day breakdown, Monday. Don't get Monday confused with Thursday or Friday. Okay? Oh my gosh, got an open house, I need all this material. So if you can, get ahead of it, 7 days preferably. Figure out which open house you're gonna do if you have listings. If you don't have listings, see if you can do an open house for a fellow agent. But get that set up on Monday if you can. Here's why.
Yeah, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, obviously you're gonna get the word out to your database. So you're gonna start promoting this, and obviously you're gonna have, you know, marketing materials that you prepare, whether it's digital forms or physical forms that you'll be able to blast out, or help, you know, with walking your farm, so you're able to go door knock, introduce yourself, put a face to the name. In addition to that, you wanna make sure that you communicate the dates, times, and obviously the links to view the property digitally prior to the open house, just so you can make sure that it is specific to whatever they are looking for.
Remember as well, you guys, the listing agent's the only one that can advertise on the MLS. So ask them that, because you won't be able to do it, the only listing agent can.
Who sort of list reports? Everybody's hands should go up. I think that's a pretty darn cool program, because what you put into the MLS, pictures and verbiage, will automatically communicate with list reports, and they'll generate at least 25 different pieces that you can use in your marketing.
Everything from property website to postcards, any form of flyers that you guys will need, it gives you covered for any situation within less than 5 minutes. Sweet. So continuing on Tuesday and Wednesday. So obviously you just want to make sure that this is promoted across all your websites and in the MLS, social media platforms. Get the word out, right? Promote it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever platforms you do like to utilize. Really spreading the word as much as you can.
Thursday, postings on social media highlighting properties' unique features. So if you have an amazing backyard, highlight that. And just do a quick raw video. Hey, you know, come see me at my open house this Saturday at between 10 and 2. Would love to see you. Look at this amazing backyard. Save, post. All right,
Find something that's unique about it.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Then hopefully you're all working your database. You mentioned earlier calling out to your database, people you know. Find out what they're doing, what's on their radar. Are they looking to buy? Are they looking to purchase? What about this open house that you have? It has an amazing backyard, but you know your database so well that you know that Sarah, Joe, and Mr. Smith, what have you, love big backyards for entertaining, and this property has it, so reach out to those people. Do your research, be knowledgeable in print neighborhood stats and market updates so that you have all that information available when people do come in.
So day of, go ahead, give Tim or myself a phone call. Go ahead and ask for a walking farm. We'll be more than happy to provide that for you. What you can do with that is from there in turn, take your marketing pieces that you guys did generate. From there, go do your door knocking, introduce yourself to the neighbors while you put a face to the name and invite them to come on by. And in addition to that, you guys can let them know that they have the opportunity to pick their next neighbor. So that is a really awesome thing. You can let them know if they have anyone that's looking in the area or has been looking to maybe move to Las Vegas, but they know from out of state. You possibly grow that database as well, in addition. Next thing you guys are going to want to have is a sign-in sheet. So list reports will generate this for you guys. It'll actually be really cool too because it'll personalize it to that property. So it'll be specific for that. Another digital sign-in sheet, I believe, is with Spacio. Yes, it's within your guys' toolbox. Thing I love about that tool is you guys will actually be able to download that list when you do integrate all that information in there, so you guys are able to easily upload it into your CRMs.
And it also has a feature on there that it checks their email for starters, if it's real. But at the end of it, you set the time at 3 o'clock, it'll email everybody that came and said, hey, thanks for coming to my open house, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's actually a really cool tool.
Love it, yeah.
And then in addition to that, we suggest 10 plus signs out, really showing them, navigating them to the open house. With that being said, definitely have to be careful and check with the HOA and the restrictions that they do have. I know Southern Highlands, that area specifically, they're not too fond about signs. So definitely check with the HOA so you aren't getting an angry phone call or someone threatening to fine you.
Or they take your signs and
Right.
destroy them.
And then obviously displaying your marketing materials, you will get all that information and all that good materials from us within our open house kits that we provide for you guys.
And so how about door knocking? Anybody rushing out the door to do door knocking?
I'm not rushing, but I'm doing done.
Well, here's what I know. He's available for rent if you want somebody to go. How you like that? Just putting you out there. Terry has a parakeet and I have a 10-pound dog that I can rent out if you are worried about door knocking. But here's the concept. Door knock it, invite your immediate neighborhood in to see the property prior to it opening up. Or work with a sponsor in the area, get a raffle, like a gift card,
Right.
and then invite the people in the neighborhood to guess what the ending price is gonna be. But then you gather their information, generate enthusiasm.
The neighbors
And-
always wanna see that inside that house, right? How many of us wanna see the inside of our neighbor's house? Wonder what that looks like, or if mine's nicer, or theirs is nicer,
Because
right? So they always wanna do that.
For sure, and that gives you another reason to call. All right, so after the open house, do you send a text? Do you send a video? Sorry. Did you get it?
I did.
Send a video text, stand out from the rest of the group, and thank them for stopping by your open house. Again, another way to reach out. So video's huge, do that for sure. Get them into your database, and then set them up on a drip campaign. If you don't know how to do that, we can help with that.
Good.
And definitely following up with leads as soon as possible. That's gonna help too. What else we got? Just about done. That's me. Open house packets. If you can, give us 24 hours max to get some of that stuff together. Sometimes we have them made up in advance and we can get them out to you. Sometimes we cannot. But again, we appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, and then just to let you guys know what's included within these kits, it's going to be your open house flyers, open house sign-in sheet. You'll get helpful home buyer flyers, like rent versus buying numbers at certain rent prices over annual years. In addition to that, ways to take title. And lastly, our home buyer and our home seller guides. Just gonna go through everything that any situation they'll expect, that they'll go through throughout the home buying or home selling process.
Awesome, good stuff, Anthony. Data, we can definitely help with data, contact data around the neighborhood to help build your database. We can help you with your CRM. We can help you with social media, and we can help you with list reports. So all the tools that we have talked about, we can help you with and would love to help you with. That said,
Hey, the summer buyer guide, is that the one that talks about what's going on in Las Vegas, the golf courses, parks, that kind of
That's
stuff?
a relocation guide.
Relocation guide, you should have some of them as well, especially because people are, would they say 5,000 people moved from California here last month?
I actually saw a stat, it's 115 people a day.
how many move out? Did you get that one?
Don't know that.
Yeah, still, that's huge.
You got me a few,
Should be marketing to California people.
right?
That said, I'm just gonna say. Yeah. I think that's it.
We're doing our class on Thursday.
Will you wanna talk about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So on Thursday, guys, we're doing our 4th installment of our call night at 4 o'clock in the Summerlin office. We've got phone numbers for homes that are listed in Summerlin. We got some out here, some solds. We're gonna give you the number information. All you gotta do is just start reaching out. We're gonna go over the scripts. We have the script, we have everything. We've had a lot of fun and have done very well. So please come. It's gonna be a lot of fun. 4 to 7 o'clock. Again, scripts, numbers, I think we're gonna have, maybe 200, 300 phone numbers. So please bring your database as well, which everybody has them on your phone. So make sure you're coming. Even if you don't wanna call a Just Listen or Just Sold, by the way, those are my 2 favorites when I was calling, because you're giving them valuable information. You're not just calling and saying, hey, we just listened or we just sold. That was my favorite. But bring your database, start calling your database. I don't think, especially today, we spend enough time talking to our database. If you're not talking to your database, somebody else is. So you need to make sure you're doing that. So, again, it's gonna be this Thursday, Summerlin, 4 to 7. We're gonna have, I don't know what kind of lunch or dinner yet, but we'll get something for dinner. And then I think that we were giving, these two gentlemen were given $20 an appointment.
Yep.
Coming out of his expense
Also,
report.
yeah,
Yes.
last time we had some Dunkin' Donuts gift cards as well, so.
Yeah, good. All right, guys, thank you. Appreciate it. Give them a big hand.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, Charity, you're up.
I didn't know I was talking, I
Yeah.
apologize.
Give us some great news.
Okay, well.
Interest rates are down to 5%.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, good.
Hi, everybody, for those of you that don't know me, I'm drinking that big Monday. I actually we're gonna host a class at 11 o'clock in your office today and discuss,
Yes.
a list and lock. I said it correctly. I've been having the hardest time putting this to.
List and lock.
I keep saying lick and lost, I don't know.
Well, I like where that's going.
Yeah, so, but yes, we're gonna go over that. As for the market today, unfortunately, job reports came out really good, I guess, so. I don't know what universe we're living in, so no, rates are not really like, rates are not very favorable this week. But we do have, that is the importance of that list and lock. So, you know, a week or two ago, if you had a listing and they were able to secure that lower rate, and if rates do go down, the buyer, whoever buys your home, does get to go ahead and float that down. So it's just kind of important that we, you know, are taking advantage of those tools, especially in the volatile market we're having right now. Other than that, not much new in products. I think I talked about it last time I was here, but I'm having a lot of success with the FHA Buyer's Choice. Closed another one last Thursday. Buyers are loving it. They're coming in with a couple $1,000s. They're able to get their down payment and their closing costs covered. No income limits. We can go down to a 620 FICO. So it's just a really great product. It's all AUS approvals. So it's not like down payment assistance where it's you have to have a 640 minimum, your DTI has to be under 45. We don't have those overlays so on this product. Any questions or?
Any idea when the rates might come down?
Oh no. Honestly, they, with all the data that's going on, they are saying this may even go much longer into 2024 than
Yes.
expected. So,
We've heard that,
So, yeah.
April, May,
yeah.
nothing. probably.
So all we can hope for is that some type of normalcy comes back in 2024, and we get back to what we've always had, which is low rates in an election year, because the administration wants to know that, you know, they think that we forget a year behind, which probably most of us do, right? So that's kind of the only prayers that we have. So pray a lot, crush fingers. I don't know, blow cinnamon in your door every night. We got to just figure it out. So
Get the St. Joseph statue in bed.
exactly. That, by the way, does work. Anybody that has not tried that, you can get it for $5 or $7 on Amazon. It comes with the prayer. Many of houses have sold very quickly after I put that in there.
They know that, I've said that to them before and I freak out when I hear that.
I planted 2 in my house, my personal house. And people told me I should be asking saints for favors, clowns were gonna come out of the ground.
Did it work?
No.
Does everybody know what we're talking about? Okay, good, okay. All right, let's, Stacia's not here today, I didn't see her, okay? Let's bring up our guests. Vicki Greco, come on up.
I'm gonna actually let Nikki go.
Okay,
first.
Nikki, come on up.
It's in line with what you guys have been talking about, how you can door knock and make new clients in this market. Nikki has a value add for you, so before I get into what's gonna save you guys money personally, I think I'm gonna let her talk about why the value of a living trust to avoid probates is important for your clients, and a way for you to reach back out to your past clients without seeming like you're just trying to get the house to sell, to let them know you have something that might be helpful for them, and it's a way for you guys to have a value add to your services, so she's a little bit more relevant to
Did
follow up.
everybody get a flyer?
And I'll be up here, guys, if you didn't get one too.
Yes. So my name is Nikki, and like Vicki was mentioning, I do estate planning.
Vicki and Nikki.
Yes, it's very easy to remember. So basically everything that I handle is on the flyer, but just to give you guys a little bit of insight, I know you guys all understand and you know what probate is. Unfortunately, when it hits home, it's way more exacerbated than you would like. So just a quick little 5-minute recap. I am going through a probate case right now because my father passed away in June. Me, being an estate planning person who does documents, drafted them and he figured I'll get to them and never did. So it is daunting, and it all starts with you guys. When you guys sell the house, show the house, do the papers, how they hold title. How they are holding title is the most important thing because they don't understand the difference, and I know you guys can't tell them. That is where I come in. Even if you don't know how to explain things to your clients, please feel free to reach out to me. I have a flyer here that you guys are more than welcome to take, explaining how people should hold title. I know there's a lot of people who can't qualify, or it's sold in separate property, but if they don't have a plan for if something happens, and we all live in Las Vegas, so we all know what the news is telling us every day. There's, I don't know, umpteen million deaths that are happening, from everything from car accidents to just anything. We just had one of our friends pass away while we were on vacation, 30 years old, died in his sleep. So you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Tomorrow is not promised. So if they don't have a plan, then everything, not only losing somebody that they really love and care about, unravels, but now they have to figure out how they're gonna stay in the house. So there's so many important things that come to planning, which is not just when I die, it's upon incapacity. It also means if we have minor children, who gets to take custody of those children so they don't get taken into CPS. There's a lot of different things. And a lot of people might say, oh, I already have a trust. A lot of people, like you had mentioned, are moving here from California. What California law says does not apply to Nevada. So their laws are completely different from ours. So if they have a trust that was done in California, that doesn't mean anything. A probate will still need to be opened here in Nevada when they pass or if something happens to them. So I do free reviews for them as well. A lot of times I get a lot of clients who are like, I wanted changes, I don't know where anything is. I will look at their documents for them and point everything out. A lot of times they do things the quick, easy way just so they can take it off their plate and say, oh, I did it, it's done, it's taken care of. But they don't know how it's written. They don't know what's in it. They don't know who they nominated 10, 15 years ago, if that person's passed away, if their information has changed, maybe they don't talk to them anymore. So there's a lot of different things that I can help assist with your clients for, but the most important thing is, hey, you just bought a huge asset. What happens if something happens to you? And if they're in the middle of buying a house and they're elderly or they have medical issues, is there a POA in place? Because I had one client who did that for her parents, where mom and dad were elderly, and thankfully we did a plan for them. Dad went into the hospital, never came out, while they were in the middle of buying the house. So thankfully the documents were in place. Daughter was able to sign the loan the paperwork to get the house put into the trust, so mom has a place to live. So there's a lot of important things that can come to proper estate planning, and it comes from healthcare directive, power of attorney, what happens when you pass, what happens if you're ill, what happens to your minor children, even recording a deed properly. Those are all very important things that need to be done. And if any of you have investor clients that are buying properties to rent them out, are they holding them properly? Do they have them in LLCs? Vicki can touch on that as well. They have them in LLCs. What happens if something happens to them, to the LLC? Who controls that LLC? So these are all important things that if you have clients that would have a need for this, when you're calling them, you can say, hey, by the way, I also know somebody that might be able to help you, free consultation. I don't sit there and, okay, you have 15 minutes, ready, set, go. I don't do that. I will go to them, I will Zoom, I will meet with them in person, whatever is more convenient for them, and I will sit down and either review documents they already have, or I will also make sure that what they need, and I'll explain it to them. I'm not a pushy salesperson. I care more about education. So I sit down with them, we figure out what their plan is personally, I give them their options, let them make the choice from there. So if you guys have anybody that you would like me to meet with, I'd be more than happy to talk to them and just make sure that they have the proper things in place so nothing happens to them or their family.
You know, I think a lot of times we're advising them today, you should get this, you get that, and our own stuff isn't taken care of.
Yeah, I know.
And so I think there's a lot of real estate agents don't have their own stuff lined out in case something were to happen.
We always think we have time.
Yeah.
And that's the downfall. We don't know if we have time.
We all know we're gonna die, we just didn't realize it was gonna be Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, guys, and I say that to kid around, but I don't, because my father-in-law, when he passed away, he went to the hospital, and he knew he was gonna die, he's been on oxygen forever, but when he said to the doctor, hey, so, when do we get out of here, or when I go home in a couple days, he's like, you're not getting out of here, this is the end.
There's something.
And he was like, he was surprised, I seen my father-in-law, he was like, wow, I didn't realize I was gonna die this week, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, it was taken care of, but my point is, we don't know, you guys, and anything wacky could happen. So I don't think we as realtors take care of our own stuff. So I think it's a good idea.
I would add to this, and I'm gonna talk about something else in a minute, but when I was 16, my mom and brother were both killed in a car accident. My father was out of state working, and we got taken into DCFS. So you hear those horror stories. It's not only just about estate planning, but it's also about planning what happens to your kids. Because my parents could have easily had something in place. She was 36, she never thought she was gonna die. He was traveling all the time. They could have had something in place that put us with our next door neighbors temporarily until my dad could have gotten home. But instead, and so those are the huge value adds to clients that you have with kids. They don't even think, I mean, how many people in here have kids? How many people in here had estate planning in place in case something had happened to you with those kids?
Yeah, very few.
None, right. So that's like one of the key things. I think that's a huge value add, and nobody likes to talk about death. So for me, I'm also a grief counselor because I've been through so much. So for me, it's like the next word out of my mouth usually. But I think if you can approach it with your clients in a way, you're building a future. And in building for your future, you should talk about these things instead of talking about death, because that scares people. But building for your future, you're buying this house or you bought this house, now how are you gonna protect it? And we talk about protection instead of death, and it makes them relatable to you a little bit better.
Good. Questions? Anybody got a question? Okay.
With that being said, I'm gonna talk about money.
Yay!
All right. So, I'm Vicki Greco, and I have a business consulting firm, but for 20 years I was a licensed practicing attorney in town, and in California. I don't practice anymore, now I do small business consulting. Anything from LLC setup to health department I deal with a lot of commercial realtors that refer me a lot of their clients that are buying things like casinos or gaming and bars and restaurants, and we do all of the licensing for that stuff and rezoning. So if you do ever have a commercial client and you don't know what the proper zoning is, or if there's zoning restrictions or variations, that's all the stuff that we do. On a lower level, we like to educate the community and teach people about compliance without giving them legal advice. And so on a show of hands today, we're talking about the difference between a sole proprietorship, an LLC, and an LLC S Corp. Just for a show of hands, how many realtors in here are sole proprietors? Okay, and how many realtors in here are actually LLC? Okay, and without putting up your hands, how many realtors are gonna make over $40,000 to $50,000 on their 1099 from their broker this year? You don't need to show me that, but if your hand would have went up and you're working as a sole proprietor, you're throwing money away. A sole proprietor is a default entity status from the IRS or from the state of Nevada. There's nothing you need to do to be a sole proprietor. You just do business. Now, how many of those sole proprietors actually have their Nevada state business license, the one that costs them $200 a year? Okay,
Everybody should, yeah.
that's a requirement. And so if you don't actually have that, you could be fined up to $10,000. And so even if you're a sole proprietor, you still have to be compliant with the way you're running your business. But as a sole proprietor, if somebody were to sue you, and even though your errors and omissions from your broker would probably cover the act, and more than likely you're probably not even at fault for it, it will still negatively affect your credit because you're gonna be brought into a lawsuit, and that's what happens when lawsuits are filed against people, whether they're right or wrong. So people don't usually see their credit as an asset, although realtors know that your credit is probably your biggest asset, bigger than even the house you're about to buy, because without it, you couldn't buy that house. So I tell people that are running any types of businesses, especially realtors, because you have to spend that $200 anyway, the LLC is an extra $225. So why not actually, how many people in here run a business?
Everybody.
Right? Everybody that runs a business should be running a business the way a business is supposed to be run, as a business entity and not a sole proprietor. And so I have this form here that you guys can see and take home. It's kind of a cheat sheet, and that explains what a sole proprietor is and the reasons why you probably wouldn't want it. The middle level is an LLC, and that's a limited liability company. And like I said, with the state of Nevada, the filing fees for that are $425. And that includes the $200 you're spending for your license. So it's basically a couple $100 more to get that LLC. And what that LLC does is protects you so that if somebody does sue you, it sues your limited liability company as long as you're running yourself like a business, okay? But it will not change your tax status. The IRS will still tax that as a disregarded entity, and it'll pass through on your regular schedule for your personal tax returns. Now, when the right column has LLC S Corp is a tax status classification from the IRS, not actually a corporation. So how many people understand what Social Security and FICA and self-employment tax is that you have to pay, okay? So you have to pay that whether you're a sole proprietor, LLC, and it's called something different when it's an LLC S Corp. But if you are making $100,000, and that's my little scenario down here, as a sole proprietor or as an S Corp, and you actually get a 1099, which everybody in here gets paid through a 1099, you're gonna have to pay 15.3% on that $100,000 regardless, as a sole proprietor or an LLC, which is your Social Security and your FICA. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no deductions. If you actually take over as the LLC S Corp, the IRS will actually see you as a business where you actually have to file a K-1 with that. And now you can actually be an employee to your company and give yourself all kinds of benefits. And one of the benefits is you go on salary for $40,000 or $60,000, depending on what other incomes you might have coming in. They say that's reasonable. And that is where you actually pay payroll taxes, whether it's literally or figuratively with your CPA at the end of the year or with a company like an ADP. So I like to use myself as an example. I'm an LLC S Corp, and my business might bring in $200,000-300,000, but I don't really get 1099. So a lot of people can play with that and hide it, but you can't really, you have to pay taxes. And if I had to pay taxes as an LLC or a sole proprietor on that $200,000 or $300,000, I would be throwing $45,000 away to the IRS every year. With my LLC S Corp, I'm on a reasonable salary, and I pay my taxes once a month to the IRS through a payroll company. I also give myself benefits. How many people here have health insurance through their company? How many people have a 401k or IRAs or any of those benefits that you get from actually being a business and the expenses that you can write off? And so on that $100,000, if you become an LLC S Corp, you will save $9,600 a year. Off the top, no questions asked. I understand that realtors haven't been making as much money as they have in the past years because of the slow. So if you're still between 40 and 60, it's not gonna really save you any money by getting that S Corp. But if you're on the verge of that this year, you wanna file now, because a good CPA can backtrack all of that 1099 income that you've had from January up until now. What you have to do is you have to go down, the real estate division is clear, and it says your LLC can only be in the name as it is on your license. So if my name is legally Vicki Greco on my real estate license, I have to file my LLC, Vicki Greco LLC. Once I get my LLC, then I have to take that to the real estate division and file a form and switch my license, and now my license will say Vicki Greco LLC. Then I take that license to my broker, and my broker will now write my checks out that way, and I will also have set up a business account because I'll have an EIN specifically for that business. And you will save a lot of money. Whether you need an LLC or an LLC S Corp, it depends on how much you make on your 1099, but whether you want to stay an LLC or a sole proprietor, it should be a no-brainer. There should be nobody that's running a business. And I noticed that the guys that were just talking before me were talking about being mindful and purposeful. And I teach classes on managed expectations, business accelerator programs, and business mechanic programs. And what I teach the people in my training courses is mindset, and being purposeful is very important in business as it is in life. If you have the mindset that you're just a realtor and not a business owner, it will change your income. If you actually start running your real estate license as a business, which in fact it is, and you switch that mindset and you start doing the things that would make you a business owner, it will change your perspective on life. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I try to keep it streamlined.
It's funny you say it, because we talk about this all the time. They're not realtors, they're business owners.
But they're not business
That's
owners.
right.
If people tell me, well, I'm a business owner, I have a sole proprietor, I'm like, that's a default. That's a default way of saying you're running a business, but you're running the business under your own person, so
They
you're
are
not a
business owners,
separate
you have to
entity.
get that through your
Yeah,
head, absolutely.
they're not, and so,
I like the way, because I used to do it back in the day when I was self-employed as well. I got a salary every week, no matter what I
I
made.
do too.
I got a salary
Yeah.
every week, you got a check every single week.
Right.
And that's what made the difference. It's hard to get your mind wrapped around that, you guys. Trust me, it did. It was hard for me to comprehend. Wait a minute, I made this, but I'm only getting what the hell?
Problems with,
But like you said, the taxes are what the
problems with,
difference.
and I'm not gonna say problems with realtors, I'm gonna say problems with people that are 1099 independent contractors, a lot of your mortgage brokers, a lot of your title people, a lot of people, they're all that way, even if they look like they're an employee, is that they still have an employee mindset. But what happens when you get to be 50, 60, 70? Are you gonna still be out there hustling to sell? You can be taking that money and saving it into your own investment. My perfect example is myself. My employer loves me. She thinks I'm the best freaking employee ever. You should see the benefits she gives me. She matches my retirement at $35,000 a year. And so when I put away $35,000, that lady gives me another $35,000, and I get the benefit of that. You see, and my company now, instead of paying taxes, is giving a benefit to the employee, but I am the employee. So it's all about mindset.
Absolutely. No, I don't want to, taking advantage of the tax system.
It's,
Yeah, it's
right,
not.
so and that's why I say it with a caveat, are you gonna pay taxes? Because,
Right.
you know, if I own a pizzeria and it's cash, most likely, most of that is going in one side, and that's how you have money laundering and all this stuff going on. But realtors, you can't hide your 1099.
Right.
That's the problem. Go ahead.
Oh, on the S Corp, can you put your investment properties in there then too, or? are they
So
separate?
the real estate division is very clear that you cannot have anybody else as a member on your LLC, and that's fine. But you can put your investment properties. That's a whole nother course, but I will tell you this right now. Unless you're a billionaire and you have 50 properties, you want your first 3 properties minimum to be in individual LLCs and not cross-contaminating
Right.
each other.
Right.
Because if something goes bad with one, they can't take the rest. And it works vice versa. If you do something and it's in your personal name, everything you have is up for grabs. Even as a realtor, so are your homes. So your real estate better be an LLC, and for the first 3 properties, guys, each one special individual. Don't get caught up in the series. Don't believe it, don't buy it, give me a call. I have my my QR code. You guys can reach me on social media. For the people watching this online, my number is 702-587-5652. And the name of my company is SilentG Consulting.com. Silent is because we're supposed to move and make our business moves in silence, but live like a G. All right? Yeah? All right? You like it?
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions, by the way, real quick? No? Good. Guys, listen, she's right, 100%. I mean, you guys hear me talk about the nonsense in Washington DC, the way they throw our money around, so I try to maybe give them as little as possible every time, because they're just gonna piss it away. A couple of things we're gonna catch on. If you're using the bullpen, you guys, just, if you're there and you leave, I mean, we've had people leave for an hour and a half and tie the computer up with all their stuff in front of them. Just be conscientious about that. Make sure you're picking your stuff up. Checks are now at the front desk. We have our little treasure box or whatever we call it. You dig in there, there's some little stuff you can get out of it. If you're a good boy or girl, you get to get in the treasure box. So it's fun. It's something fun to do. The girls have them up front now. They're gonna clean out the mailboxes, so please make sure you go through it. Honestly, guys, most of the stuff in there is not good. Do you wanna list your home? Do you wanna, nah. Anything that's important, they will call you and say, hey, we just received something, from an attorney or whatever it might be, and call you on that, but other than that, just goes into there. Rev up classes, the rev up is tomorrow. It's gonna be on the residential listing agreement, and then finding motivated sellers prepared to win the listing, that's gonna be on Friday. Make sure you guys are getting involved with it. The last probably month, we've had more turnout at the rev up classes, and they're on Zoom as well, than we've had in a long time, so it's really good to see. They're gonna be in Zoom, and then after the 10th one, this is number 8, it'll be in the Southwest office. So make sure you're going to them, guys. Even if you wanna just get caught up and try it again, been through it a while, haven't seen it in a while, you need to get engaged with it. Teams, if you have team members, make sure they're getting engaged with the classes. They're right there, they're for you, they're free. Again, they're great classes. We put this on the Las Vegas Valley Water District on October 6th. They're gonna do a little seminar for everybody that it'll be cool to go to. We just put it up there for you to see. Dues are due, yay! On the 5th, the 6th, late fees will be applied, so they're due on the 5th. We had, as of Friday, 14 pages of realtors that have not paid their dues to LVR yet. I think it is by Mackenzie will correct me, I think it's like on the 20th of the month, we have to send your license back to the division, if you have not paid it. This is the induction dinner for Mary Perry. I think we do have a few seats left at Tim's got right now, $95. Black tie, November 4th, 5 p.m. at Red Rock Country Club. I know we have a few spots left at Tim's office. Our office table is full. Saying the date, this is our Northwest Holiday Party. Again, just make sure, we haven't done the RSVPs yet, but I think it's gonna be in the next few days. Mackenzie will know, December 15th, remember 6 to 10, we had an amazing time last year. If you're a Realtor One agent, you're free, you're +1. I think it's gonna be about $60 or $65, so make sure you get onto that one, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Whoop, I double click something. Next week, Ed Foley, Stink Stompers. This guy says that he can, I don't care, a dead body could have been in there for months and then they get the stink out. I had a property, you guys, that I wish I would have known Ed, that the husband and wife chain smoked in it for 25 years. And we had it painted, we had the carpet cleaned, and everybody that walked in the house did an immediate U-turn and headed right back out. And so we had to have the carpets, we did all kinds of different things to get the smell mediated, and barely got it out of there. So he's gonna talk about what he's doing, so that's next week. And I believe 11 o'clock right here, List and Lock. Ricky's gonna be here, he's the president of Epic, and he's gonna talk about List and Lock and the advertising discounts and different things about what's going on in our market. It's here to stay right now. They don't anticipate anything until, like I said, April, May of next year of the prices, interest rates coming down. So we're gonna be living in this for a while, let's don't give up. Reach out to your database, get in contact with people that you know. That's the best business that we gotta do right now, you guys. We gotta get back to the basics. This number of, I think the TikTok and all the videos, I think that's all great, but we gotta get on our phone and start talking to people that we know. Again, on Thursday, we're doing our class in the Summerlin office. It's gonna be me and Tim. These guys provided the numbers as well. Again, at 47, I'm sorry, we're gonna have fun. If you haven't made calls, come and just see what we're doing, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Even if you don't wanna call and just listen or just hold, call your database. Your database is your business right now. How many homes were sold last year in America? Does anybody know? About 1.6 million homes were sold last year in America. How many leads were sold to realtors on 1.6 million sales?
10 million.
I'm glad you guys are sitting down. 92 million on 1.6 million sales. I can't wait to get my Google account set up and give them $2,000 a month. When I've got 800 people on my phone that I'm not gonna call, but I'm gonna pay them $2,000 a month for leads. When I've got all these people on my phone, I'm just not calling them. The website we give you, Sync, it's got a drip email campaign in there that you can set it up and forget it, and every 2 months, 6 months, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever you set it up at, it'll automatically send something to your clients. We have to touch them 33 times a year if we want them to know us as the realtor, right? The problem that we're doing, you guys, is we're not touching them. I expect you to make a personal phone call every quarter to, I don't care if you got 800 people, start calling 4 a day, every day. That's the way we get business. Guys, instead of reaching out to people that we don't know, how about reaching out to people that know us and love us, right? So on that note, you guys, that's all I have for this time. Hang out, go check your emails, come back, 11 o'clock right here. Vicki's gonna be here for Epic. Thank you, Vicki, appreciate you. Vicki, yeah, I was just thinking, I know it's something rhyme. Thank you guys, appreciate it, everybody.
We'll hang out for a
Okay,
minute anyway.
good job, yeah, absolutely. You guys, we need to start treating our like we have a business, because you do. All right,
You're a sole proprietor?
yeah. I have a trust set for all my stuff. So I have been forever,
No.
even my 2 businesses.
Yeah, we've worked together for years. We have our own separate businesses. Yeah, because I know your name. Sure.
I tried to log on to see exactly what they did, but I guess they're trying to get out of it, and they dropped the NAR.
Yes, other agents don't do.
When you get a chance, website,
Different agencies, like.
click on a couple of my tabs, see what I can do.
Well, you have to pay the MLSUs, I think you should just want to join their, the national. Because that's, when you go to join, they're, that 1700 you pay, like 600 that goes to them, 400 goes to them, and very little, not simply very little. But a small amount goes to LVR, the rest is to join all the associations and everything.
Right, yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of people who are
Yeah,
pissed
so-
that Remax and whatchamacallit paid.
When
Pay
you
the
go
money
there,
to
just
get out of the lawsuit.
blog tab.
And so I don't know why I tried to open it, Jeff sent it to me, I couldn't open it to see exactly what it said, did you read it?
Build a page.
Or text, or.